Hello everyone, this is World Doula Week and we're going to discuss with 4 doulas about their career and some fun experiences they've had during labor and childbirth. Okay, so first let me add my friend Neha. So we'll ask Neha, what is a doula? Neha, be ready, huh? Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Neha.
I don't have my headphones on. If you feel the sound is low, I'll put it on.
That's okay. So I'm just going to disable the comments, okay? Because let it not distract people. Let them all see your face properly. So, can we start with what is a doula?
First of all, thanks a lot for doing this. I think
No
that
problem.
very few people know about the word doula.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually unfortunate because it's actually one of the oldest professions that women have played, not even knowing about it.
Okay.
Supporting other women in birth is what women have always done for centuries.
Okay.
But now we have a name for it, which ironically has come from the West. But actually, in India, we always had women playing that role.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, there are a lot of questions about what's a doula.
Yeah.
Before I tell you about what's a doula, let me tell you how I got to doing this, because
Okay.
that would explain it better, I think, rather than
Sure.
definition of what a doula
Go
is.
with the flow. Go with the flow. You
Yeah,
always wanted to just go with the flow, no? So,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's how I think most of our journeys have been. Most of us, including me, had intense transformational experiences during the birth of our children. No matter how it went, whether it was a good birth, whether it was a difficult birth, whatever it is, I think all of us were touched in some ways, and so was I. My first birth was a beautiful birth where I was like super confident, and I didn't have any doubts in my mind about how can this not work. I mean, of course, birth is meant to work, and things went really well. And I enjoyed my pregnancy, my birth, my parenting experience, and I was sure I wanted to have another child. And so 2.5 years later, I was having my second one, who's Maya. And Maya's birth was also a good birth, because I felt loved, I felt supported, I felt confident from people around me, my family, my husband, my care providers, and the birth went well.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing is ever certain, and I think one of the most consistent things about birth is the uncertainty. So
Okay.
there was a scenario where she didn't do too well after birth, and she had to, be admitted in the NICU for some time, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
difficult patch. I came out of it, but it left me with a lot of questions, and it left me wanting to dig deeper into what's going on, really. I mean, it's not as simple as I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my journey kind of started. And over those few years, while I was busy taking care of my kids, I used to read, research, um, um, follow on Instagram and social media some of the amazing work that was going on, and I got really inspired to do something in birth. And I began as a childbirth educator, because at that time I believed that it is about information, and it
Yeah.
is about knowing what's going on, what you need to do, making good informed choices, feeling empowered with that information, which is what childbirth education is about. And I knew that that was what I wanted to do, and I did that. I certified as a Lamaze childbirth educator. I started taking classes. I started supporting some couples. They would come to my class, and sometimes they would just want me to be there with them when they were in labor. And I went, and not knowing what I was doing. And
Okay.
then I eventually realized that there is something called a doula. But
Mm-hmm.
what at that time I also realized that it's not just about information. So that is one part of it. That's a really
Mm-hmm.
important part of it, no doubt. But there's a lot more to it. There are these unexplained elements to birth because it's complicated, and that's when I started exploring that side of birth, which is not very commonly understood and not spoken about much in the conventional childbirth classes. But I was like, what else? If you're fully prepared, you've attended a really good class, you have, chosen a good care provider, it should all be perfect. But nothing is ever perfect. Like I said, uncertainty is one of the most constant things that's there in every birth. So that's when my journey as a doula started. I met Divya. I moved to Delhi at that time, and that was a really big, amazing thing to happen for me because I learned so much from her. And I realized that birth works. Okay, birth is meant to work. We know that majority of women can give birth without complications when they are well supported. But that's not what seems to be happening around. And why is that? So what I realize is that when women are feeling supported, now what do you mean by feeling supported? When they are feeling safe, when they are feeling confident, when they're able to trust their bodies, when they are able to tune into their body, they move into this zone of feeling comfortable and safe. And when they are in that zone is when nature works best. So when we just say that birth works, it doesn't work if you're not in that space of feeling connected and safe. So doula work is really about that. How do you help this woman be in that space where she feels comfortable with her body, with herself, with her care providers, where she feels supported? Because it's like walking in this unknown territory. Imagine that you're entering a maze. You know that there is an end to it somewhere, but you don't know the path. You're blindfolded. And so you're afraid because you don't know where it's going to turn, where you're going to bump into something, where you're going to trip on something. So if there's someone beside you who's holding your hand, that's one way for you. And that's really what my role in that is, to help that. And the thing is that there are different ways for people to feel safe. For someone, it's holding somebody's hand. So getting that little bit of a rub on their back, reassuring them, the emotional support. For someone, it is very different. It has to do with things that are going on in their life, their relationship. And so a lot of emotional support is required in that case. For someone, it is just developing the trust with the care provider. So some mothers are very confident, but the moment they meet the doctor or enter the hospital, something changes. So how can you change that for them? So what the manner in which you support which I support every couple is different, because every person is unique and every person is complex. And so the key to doula work is building that one-on-one relationship. Spending time to get to know each other well, becoming friends, feeling comfortable to open up and allow yourself to be vulnerable. So when you're able to reach that kind of relationship with someone is when you're able to hold their hand in the dark place. Otherwise, they're not going to want to hold your hand because you're again a stranger. And that is where the real skill, that is where the real, I would say, the heart of what doula work is. So while that's one part of it, the other part, which I must say before I go, because I have worked essentially in hospital settings. I've worked in hospitals mostly in Delhi now. I am going to be moving to Bangalore soon. But the other big role that I have learned over time to play is being that bridge between mothers and their families and the care provider. And that is because I realized that actually the most traumatized people in the room are unfortunately the doctors and the nurses more than anyone else. And honestly, I feel empathy towards them because most of them come from a system where they have trained and seen so much of trauma. They've seen things go really bad. They have been trained in fear. So the whole medical narrative is this complication, that complication. You have this problem, this will happen, that will happen. And their training as doctors is to protect you from those complications. So absolutely. I blame them their job is to know all possible complications that can happen so that they can catch it. But the lens from which they're operating, therefore, is of complication and looking for fear. And so they are honestly pretty traumatized and afraid. And I feel that empathy. And I think that my biggest learning as a doula has been able to be a doula to doctors and nurses as well.
Okay.
Them to also feel comfortable in the birthing space. And
Okay.
I think the best way to understand that is with an example. There was this one doctor I remember when I just moved to Delhi, and this hospital that I went in with one of my clients for the first time. And I remember meeting her before in one of the appointments and then later in the labor room. And she was a conventional obstetrician and was skeptical about natural birth and skeptical about this midwife and doula thing. There are these hippies who do this natural birth thing. I don't think it's safe, but she was respectful with the client and she said, okay, if this is what you want, fine. And they have been at multiple births with her over the years. And I have seen how over these multiple births, gradually her own trust in birth has increased. I don't communicate too much with the doctor. My focus is on the mother, but the doctor is noticing how these women who come in with good information, come in with good support, have this person with them, they do better. There are better outcomes, there are less complications, they are more satisfied, they are happy and elated after the birth. They are thanking everyone, including the doctor who actually did nothing. But, so I saw this doctor gradually change, and now I'm really going to miss working with this doctor because she is completely able to see that. The fact that how when a woman is supported, is confident, is calm, is in a good, safe place, things work well. And the doctor has learned to just step back and only come in when she needs to. So I think that part of it, as doulas who work in hospitals, is a very big role. I wish we didn't have to play that. I wish there were, institutions where this was automatically part of the system and people could just walk in feeling great and feeling supported. But we all know the reality of the medical system, and which is where I think a doula's role plays that extra importance.
Right. Beautiful, Neha. I think all newbies who are probably, not even mothers who had this confusion about what is the doula and what does the doula do. I think they all got their answers from this. So I'd also like to know, you also take childbirth education classes, no? That's how you started. How many people do you take per batch?
So that really depends on the number of people who enroll. Not many people know about childbirth education. So I started off doing one-on-one classes, and then the word of mouth, and then maybe 2-3 people. Now most of my classes are 3 to 5. And if the number is more than 6, I generally break it up into 2 groups because I've realized that childbirth education is not about one-way information passing. It is about hearing what they are receiving, reflecting back, having discussions within the group, and individualizing what you're offering to each person. Everyone doesn't need the same thing to feel confident. For someone, it's about pain. For someone, it's about partner support. For someone, it's about how do I manage the hospital. And you can't have one standardized class curriculum. While there is, of course, our classes have a curriculum. Having that individualized kind of education is what enriches it, and which is what makes it valuable. Otherwise, why do you attend the class? You can read. There are so many books. See, none of the information that you're sharing is secret information. Okay.
Yeah.
All out there. There's Lamaze itself the website has a lot of content. There are amazing books available. So if you're just looking for information, don't bother wasting your time and money for a class. What the class is offering you is that connect with the educator and the educator's personal experiences, the educator's ability to make you feel confident. So choosing the educator is the most important part, I think, in a birth class. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I mean, I don't know. I have never done a class bigger than 6. So I don't know how, if I am to, how I'll ever do that, because these things cannot change. So you have to
Right.
figure out a way then to ensure that you're doing this individualized one-on-one support, and not compromising on that.
Right.
That's
Right.
I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Neha. Now give us some information about how to reach out to you and your website or your brand's name, all of that.
Okay, so I'm right here. My Instagram is
Before
birth.step.
that, where are you from?
That is a very long, there's a long question. But if I'm to tell you very quickly, I'm half UPite, half Punjabi, married to a Telugu, born in Hyderabad, lived in all 4 states of the south, and in Calcutta, and Pune, and Jaipur, and Delhi. And now I'm moving back from Delhi to Bangalore. So I'm from wherever
Okay.
you would like me to be.
You were in Pondicherry for a long time, right?
No, not Pondicherry, Chennai and Trichy.
Chennai. Okay. Chennai and
Trichy.
Trichy. Oh, okay. I thought Pondicherry. Okay.
Health in Trichy.
Oh, okay. So Tamil இப்போ ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? தெரியுமா?
I can understand 90%, but I don't
Okay.
have the courage to speak because it sounds horrible.
Thank you so much, Neha. I love talking to you.
But not more. I will not speak more than that.
What?
கொஞ்சம் தமிழ் தெரியும்.
தெரியும். அது போதும். அந்த கொஞ்சம் தமிழ் தெரியும் வச்சுட்டே நிறைய பேர் ஓட்டுறாங்க.
Okay.
Fine. Thank you so much, Neha. Love talking to you. Love having you.
My
We'll
pleasure.
have detailed conversations sometime soon, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Watching the rest of it.
Yeah. How do I cut you off? How do I take you off now? என்ன பண்றது?
I will.
பாவமே. You exit. அதான் easy. There's not even a cross sign there, yeah? Okay. So I'll add the next person. Arpita, I hope you're ready. Let me just turn on the comments for a minute just to see what's happening in the comments section. Hello, everybody. I hope you understood what a doula is, so we won't be dealing with the same question again. We will ask some questions to Arpita. Yeah. Arpita, I hope you're there. Okay, I can see you. Yes. Hey, Arpi.
Hi, Swati.
Ma.
I'm so used to reading your name like that from your Insta handle that adhe natural vanduchu.
Sure, it's okay. So first, tell us where you're from and where are you now? What are you doing? Are you a doula that practices at a natural birthing center or a hospital? And how does one get to work with you? Adha vechu start pannalam.
Okay, I'm an independent doula. So I support mothers wherever they want to birth. It could be at a birth center, it could be at a hospital, or sometimes at their homes, and that's their choice. So
Okay.
sometimes they when I'm in at home, they would like to labor at home as long as they can, and
Okay.
they may probably want to go to hospital only in the end.
Okay.
So it's up to the mother, and I go
Right.
with the whatever
Okay.
the
And
mother.
where do you practice?
Where do you practice, as in I didn't get
I mean,
it.
which state in India are you in?
Oh, okay, in Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay. So Neha was from Delhi and Arpita is in Bangalore.
And
So,
he has come to Bangalore.
oh, yeah, right. Correct. Okay. So, but you're Tamil, right?
Ama, Tamil.
Okay. But then you know Kannada also now.
I know Kannada, and from a health history taking perspective, I had a small stint at St. John's where we were trained, where Kannada was a language that we had to learn. So it's more of no vidya, joro vidya.
Okay.
Skills in
Okay.
Kannada, but I can manage.
Right, right. So what was your background and how did you end up doing doula work?
Okay, background is that of an average Indian. You ask any average Indian, their
Engineer.
background is engineer. So it's like, it's like the bail bail form that we need to give our parents to say, take your engineering degree. And now we'll figure out what we want to do with our lives. So I started out as an engineer and I worked with a couple of startups. அதுக்கப்புறம் after I had my first birth experience is how I got into birth work. um, it it was a very traumatic experience, and
Okay.
as part of therapy I was asked to find out what went wrong, because the first reaction or coping skill for anybody who goes through trauma is to blame oneself.
Okay.
So to get out of the blame mode, they asked me to understand what really went. And as I started understanding a lot of things, it occurred to me that all this information is not there. And I did attend a childbirth education class.
Oh.
Yes. But what happened was that educator was attached to a doctor and she didn't want to say anything that might rock the boat.
Okay.
So there was just so much angst. Although I did start my career from that place, I've evolved over time. But I had this intention to be work independently, so I don't have to succumb to anybody's or be restricted not to talk about anything. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So once I started as a childbirth educator, and I learned more and more about the birth sphere, I so badly wanted to become a midwife. And I thought the quickest way to become a midwife and the safest way to get a license is to do a nursing degree. So at 28, I again wrote the nursing entrance and joined a nursing college.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun to be in a class of 18-year-olds as a 28-year-old and telling them, oh, you don't have to worry about assignments. Chill, it won't matter. Take it from me.
Awesome, girl.
Yeah. It was very good, and it helped me understand. I faced obstetric trauma, so I never understood why there was a lot of fear mongering in the medical field. But then when I joined medical college and I started reading, that's when I understood the way the books are written. It's almost like how Neha said. It's like, a midwife or a doula would probably say, look at walking as a physiological function of life. Okay, you just walk on the road and you'll be fine. If you scrape your knee or happen to have anything, come to me, I'll take care. But whereas the training of a medical practitioner would be like, say, okay, if you walk on the road, you'll have 5% chance of twisting your leg and falling. You have 2% chances of getting hit by an auto. So they are trying to be, looking for risks and rescuing people from that. So I understood two sides of the coin, and it helped me become a better birth worker.
Wow.
Communicate with doctors, empathize with their
Of course, yeah.
from where they are coming from.
True. Yeah. Okay, so give us some nice experiences that you had as a doula.
Okay. So I when I started off, I attended a doula workshop by this amazing.
நீ அந்த phone எங்கயாவது ஒரு இடத்துல வைக்கிறியா?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. So I attended this doula training by this amazing doula instructor from Canada. So although she was great technically, she taught us a lot of skills. I didn't have a mentor to guide me. So I came into doula work with a lot of preconceptions, like say natural birth is the only best way to give birth. Physiologically, yes, but emotionally, I learned otherwise. So there was one of these births, and this mother came to me and she was like, listen, I've done hypnobirthing and I've never supported a hypnobirthing mother before. And she said, this is my usually people come with a birth preference list, like these are the things that I want to I mean, these are my preferences which I want people to respect. But she came with a birth vision, like a movie script. Okay. So it was, and they come from Hong Kong, so they knew the sex of the baby. So the baby's name was Malhar. And she said, so it was like, the contractions will come and Malhar will come into the water, like, swimming out like a fish. And it seemed very nice to read. She chose a facility which had water birthing, and she said, and I'll catch Malhar, and we'll have a nice quiet and very detailed, like scene by scene. You could actually shoot a movie with that. And
Okay.
and it will rain, and she was birthing in May.
Okay.
So I asked her what is, so I asked, Malhar is such a beautiful name, and she said, yeah, that is the raga which Tansan sang to bring the rain down. So when he is born, there will be rain. And then I'm like, I mean, for some reason, I had this, at that time, I was operating under this mindset that I need to make this happen for the mother, that I shouldered that responsibility to make things come true for her. So I was very apprehensive, almost like a
You
performance
started praying to
specialist.
the rain gods, huh?
No, I was very skeptical, and I've never supported. I've heard of hypnobirthing in theory. I've watched the videos, but I didn't know how practically possible it would be in a hospital setting. Maybe in a birth center setting where midwives are trained to support mothers' wishes, but in a hospital setting, I was very skeptical. And she even said, "Could you also do this course called Hypno Doula, so that you support me better?" And she said, listen, I don't want you to suggest me anything. So we are non-medical professionals. We also suggest them, why don't you take this position or that position, or maybe work with them. We don't, at that point, I was in the suggesting mode. Later, I learned that we have to follow the mother's directions, not give them, not coach them. I was a very risky doula. I did a lot of mistakes, but I learned. So at that time, I was like, then what am I for? I'm not meant to do anything. I'm meant to be just there and not offer any advice. And she said, just be there for me and do this
Okay.
course. So I was
Okay.
like, okay. And to me, somewhere in me, I saw this as an opportunity to learn. It was like something that that would help me widen my paradigm and perspectives. So I went with the flow. I did the course, and I stuck. And she gave me all her hypnobirthing scripts to read and understand. And on the day when she went into labor, we went to the facility from home, and it was nothing like a textbook hypnobirthing. Not like one of those videos where mothers are so calm. And it was nothing like that. It was a storm. She had this intense, I wouldn't say shouting, but she was intensely chanting those scripts. It was almost like a cultish thing, and her husband was chanting it. The room was dark with a lamp. Whenever a nurse or a doctor comes, they'll do the checks, and once they go, I switch off the light. They'll be chanting and chanting, and it was such a trance-like energy, and I too started chanting with them. It was so different, unlike any birth I've attended, and it didn't go as per her plan either. The care provider did have to. She did have her way in getting some interventions done, non-medical interventions. But then she also had scripts to center herself if in case her births didn't go as per plan.
Oh.
It was, yeah, she was so prepared. And then finally, when she reached the space where, in the active phase where she said, I think I want to get into the tub, and the doctor helped her into the tub. And that's when my heart started beating. Oh my God, she wants to catch a baby. Because in water birthing facilities supported by doctors, oftentimes they sometimes ask the mother to get out of the water just when they're about to push the baby, because they don't have visibility.
Okay.
But like midwives are trained to catch the babies in however position. Like they could do all kind of
Like
acrobatic
prostrate on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
Doctors who don't have the training, sometimes when they want to see better visibility, they get them out of the tub. So I was like, oh God, I really hope her wish comes true, So the doctor was sitting, we were all there, and she said, I feel like pushing. And then the doctor said, no, you're just 7 centimeters, you still have a long way to go. And some 10 minutes later, the nurse came and pulled the doctor off for another patient who needed care.
Okay.
And she just, after some 15 minutes, she just looked at me and said, I think the baby is coming. And the baby just swam out. And the husband was like, the baby. And she was like, yes, I know, it's the baby. Come. Like, she was so calm. She was like, the baby's coming. And she's like, come. And she didn't even lift the baby. Usually I've seen that when the baby comes, they lift immediately.
Yeah,
The baby
okay.
swam. The baby swam, and for me, who have always attended chaotic hospital births as a doula, that was the first time I'm seeing a peaceful birth. So the baby came out, and the baby swam himself to the surface, and she took the baby, put him on the chest, and they had like a 15 minutes of quiet time. It was almost as if the doctor left the room,
Just
like,
for
you know,
this
like
thing to
divine
happen.
providence.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the doctor came in, and she was so stumped. And there was thunder and there was rain. And I was weeping. It
No
almost,
kidding.
no, it happened. It rained. And I was weeping like, you know, I was in some kind of a fantasy movie. Like this Ayarthil Oruvan Karthi, where all the predictions one after the other. I'm like,
Wow.
oh my God, the baby came out. Oh my God, it's raining. Oh my God, what is this? So that birth is something I think it will always remain close to me. I've told this to every other birth worker I've met. It taught me the intent of mind over body, the power of intention, and how single mind, and it's not just about the belief. She spent like 3 hours just practicing the scripts, just pouring herself into the scripts and embracing it, and not just she and her partner. So yeah, that's one experience I will never forget.
Wow, Arpi, the way you narrate things, girl, you are the bomb, Arpi. I just love you for the way you narrate things. Oh my God. Is there anything else for us?
Mm, yeah, since you're also talking about the doula as a profession, it's something that people didn't tell me when I started out. And I wish I had known when I started out. Never get into this profession alone. Get into this in partnership with somebody. Have a
Hmm.
back, work as a partner.
Okay.
Because, or else, as much as it's soul fulfilling work, it could also burn you out.
Hmm. Okay.
If you're not careful, if you're not, if you can't set professional boundaries, if you can't take care of your own personal needs while catering to others. So yeah, that would be one advice if for people who are considering to become doulas.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And now tell me, you also take childbirth education classes, no?
Yes, I do.
How many people do you take in a batch?
So I tend to, to me, what excites me about childbirth education is interacting with people, connecting with people, and that needs time. So to me, I don't think I'll be able to make those connections if it goes beyond 5 or 6.
Okay.
And if it goes 6, then it becomes 2 batches of 3 couples in a batch. So mostly it's 3 to 4. Yeah.
Thank you for
So
that.
because birth education is not just telling all this information and telling women to write the contractions and push the baby out. It's about personalizing those. The many coping skills that we teach may not work for everybody. So it's about,
Exactly.
yeah, it's about asking them what has worked for them so far. Like, say when you were sick, what worked for you? So for some women, it would be like, they'd say, oh, I loved it when my dad used to just take this strand of hair and keep it behind my ear time to time, and that used to comfort me. So you know, when you understand more and more about your personality, and then you
So,
tell them,
so 1 second. So you do that during labor if she wants to be comforted?
of course. And those are things that
Wow.
we don't ask during labor. That's what
Uh-huh.
happens when we see them during pregnancy. We get to know them so much.
Mm.
Or else how would somebody be so comfortable, like being naked and being trusting somebody, when they are most vulnerable,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how many hours is a typical childbirth education class where you have to give them all kinds of information about comfort measures or labor management or breathing techniques or whatever it is?
I would say it's a minimum of 12 hours,
Okay, okay.
like a minimum of 12 hours.
Minimum.
Minimum. Spread
Oh, okay.
across how many hour sessions? So some take it across 4 sessions, some may take it across 6 sessions. And childbirth education is not teaching you how to birth this baby. It is, you already know that. You know, childbirth education is about letting you connect, you know, remove that veil of fear and doubts, self doubts, and letting you connect with your intuitive self to decide what is right for you. And it may not be essentially a physiological natural birth, and that is okay, provided
Yeah,
you take the decision from a place of awareness and not because of fear or anxiety, or like,
yeah.
provided you know the pros and cons and it's an informed consent.
Beautiful, beautiful. No, so now tell us how can people connect with you? What's your brand's name? You have a
um,
brand name.
yes, I do have this brand called Blue Maternity Studio. It has a Facebook page, and you can connect with me on Instagram as well. You can just DM me and I'm very approachable that way.
Yeah. Thank you, Arpi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here, Swati. It's my first maiden live.
Really?
Virgin.
Oh.
It's my virgin Insta live.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
girl. So we'll have more, okay? Please
Yes.
note down all stories for me. I'll get you back for more stories. Birth
I
stories.
look forward to that. See
Yeah,
you.
sure. Bye. நீ தான் க்ளோஸ்
Bye.
பண்ண எனக்கு எப்படி க்ளோஸ் பண்றதுன்னு தெரியல.
Yes.
Yep. So I hope that was amazing. Those who are watching this video, please comment whatever you felt while watching it after the video is saved. Okay. Only then people who come and watch it later will know what you felt while you were watching it. Please do that. Okay. Please, please, please. Okay. Let me add the third doula, all time favorite, Reba Daniel. First Malayali doula I came across. Okay. Riva, I'm trying to add you.
Are we on?
Yeah, on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Riva. Oh, എന്ത് ഭംഗിയാ കാണാൻ റീബേനെ.
Do you see me, hear me?
Yeah. I can see you.
My camera is very, very close. Okay.
Yes, and we can see you in your total complete beauty. You look beautiful today.
Fine.
Fine. I told you several times you look beautiful. എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് പറ.
I mean, basically, I'm 2 arms away from this.
Woman, can you even hear me?
I can't hear you now.
Awesome.
Yeah, now I hear you. Now I
ഓ ഈ
hear you.
റീബയുടെ ഫോണിന് എപ്പോഴും എന്തെങ്കിലും കുഴപ്പമാണല്ലോ റീബ. ഒന്നിലെ ഫോൺ പോക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ
അല്ലല്ലോ ഈ ഒരു പ്രശ്നമില്ല. It's my internet because I'm on a hotspot.
Okay. ആ എന്തെങ്കിലും
Because
ഒരു
I'm
പ്രശ്നം
traveling and I'm on a
ഉണ്ടാവും.
hotspot. Yeah.
Yes. So ഞാൻ 2-3 തവണ
Because I'm kind of anti-technology.
ഞാൻ ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞോട്ടെ. ഇന്ന് നല്ല ഭംഗിയുണ്ട് കാണാൻ.
Thank you. Because I'm in our Kerala.
Oh really? Okay. Fine. Okay. Where are you in? Cochin.
Fresh water. I'm in Kovalam. I've been staying in Kovalam for about 2 months now. Really enjoying it and swimming in the ocean. Doing something that like 5 years ago, I had this thing, like, you know how Arpita was just saying what somebody visualizes, it works throughout all places in your life. Okay. I used to wish that I want to spend like 2-3 months near the ocean. So near the ocean, I can walk down in 10 minutes. I can take a bath in the water. I can come back. I can have param. There's lots of things that I can't have in Bangalore, like the red param. My favorite things. I can have them. can sleep, I can meditate when I want to. It's actually quite a dream come true for me.
Wow, wow. Okay. So happy Doula Week. Good job on all the stuff, amazing stuff that you people do. So Neha spoke about who is a doula, what does a doula do, and Arpi spoke about what she learned in the process, and a beautiful experience also she narrated. So you tell me, how did you get here? What was your actual previous qualification, and how did you become a doula?
So I love this question because everything that I really want to say about being a doula is in that one question. So super job, Prati. My background, as you know, was natural health and, understanding body and body processes, food, how does it affect you? How do you detox? How do you live with joy inside this body? Yeah.
You're a journalist, no?
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
So I'm trained as a journalist, and then my interest automatically, very early on, it went into health and then into natural health.
Okay.
So that was the background, and basically, now looking back, I know that my search was to find how can I live with joy and like an abundance, like joyfully in my body. Like my body should be well, my mind should be well, I should be happy, I should figure it out. So that was always looking back, I realized that was the thread running through it.
Okay.
But for doula work, it was my birth that actually brought me to doula work, because I did not know that there was a thing called doula. I mean, that word itself was alien till about 6-7 years ago, right? But after I had my birth, 2 years after I had my birth at home, you guys all know that story, not saying it again. One of my friends, my colleague, she and I used to work together in animation. And she got pregnant for the first time when she was 39 years old. And she was always a heavy person. Like, she was overweight all through her life. Not that she became overweight in pregnancy, right?
Okay.
And once in a while, when we used to meet, she used to keep saying, something irritates me so much. In my file in the hospital, they have written on top, aged patient.
Okay.
Like there is a time limit. She's still menstruating, so I don't understand that bit. And then what happened was 10 days before she was supposed to go, her due date, 10 days before her due date, they asked her to come in and be induced. And she was completely confused. Everything is fine, but come and be induced. And she did not know. And now over the years, I have so much more information. But at that time, at least I knew that.
Riva, 1 second. It's okay. Yeah, now it's okay.
So I knew at least that much. Let the labor start on its own, I knew. And her problem was that because she was almost 40 and her parents were in their 80s, and if she went into labor at night, there was nobody to take her quickly to the hospital. So I said, okay, what do you feel like doing? If you feel safe to go and induce, I'll come and I'll take you to hospital, you'll be induced. If you want to stay at home, I promise you that when you feel labor, I will come to your house and I'll be with you. Doesn't matter what time it is. And then whenever you want to go to hospital, I'll take you to hospital.
Okay.
That is basically what I agreed to do. And the day that they told her to be induced, literally 10 days after that, she called me at 11:15 at night. This is in 2010. And she said, I'm feeling like this. She's telling me, like as if like when I have my period, like my back aches and all. I said, okay, this is the beginning. I'll come. I went to her house. We sat through the night and she was having such a smooth labor. Like in between the contractions, she's writing the check because she handles everything in the house, right? So writing check. Mommy, tomorrow Asianet guy will come. I've signed it, kept it here. Please go.
നിനക്ക് എന്തോ ചെയ്യുന്നേ റിബ
I don't know how to turn this off. I'm just going to keep going. So she's literally signing the check and she's saying, this is in labor. Okay, so she's dealing with her labor so beautifully. And I reached her house at 11:15 at night. By 5:30, she said, okay, I think now I'm ready to go. In between, she lost the mucus plugs, all that happened. I took her to the hospital, and then that was my first time in the hospital. And then later looking back, I realized that was my first doula work, because nobody was supporting her. She was alone in the labor room. The doctor came out very angry because she did not come 10 days ago to be induced, even though nothing was wrong here. Because she said she's an aged patient and she's not cooperating. And this is a word that I can't stand when I'm not cooperating. So I said, if she's in labor, so it might be hard for her to lie still. I said like that. And the doctor looked at me very angrily and she said, who are you? And I said, I'm her cousin, because that's what we decided to say earlier on. And then she said, if you've had a child, and if you go and tell her to calm down, okay, I can let you inside. And she was still angry throughout, that. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm not able to see you well. I can hear you really well, but I'm not able to see you.
Okay, so shall I just keep going? And I think this is just because I'm on my hotspot and I'm inside.
Keep going. No,
keep going. And the internet will catch up.
No, keep going.
And basically what I saw was two very young nurses standing on one side with their arms crossed. And my friend is writhing in pain on the bed. She's not allowed to move. And there are two young women just standing watching it and just whispering to each other. And I couldn't understand it. I mean, and it was just very, I don't know, shocking, sad, frustrating, I don't know, it was all of these things, So anyway, I was inside till she started pushing. So I was there holding her hand, helping her, cajoling them to at least elevate the bed a little bit. All of that stuff. It was, it was a rude awakening about how things happen in the hospital, because I had not had a birth in a hospital yet. I had never seen one, had never been at one.
Right.
But anyway, that's what really brought me to doula work. But more specifically, after I joined Birth Village and I started apprenticing, doing the birth education classes slowly, then Priyanka would say, I think you'll be good at labor support. And it was really Priyanka and Donna who really welcomed me into a more, structured kind of doula work. And I will always be grateful for that. So most of the births that I have done most of them are birth center births. And I have done maybe 4 or 5 hospital births. Some of those hospital births were also transferred, that needed to transfer out from Birth Village. And yeah.
Okay.
You can still not see me, no?
Okay. Is there? No, I cannot see you. Now, you can hear me, right? Can you hear me?
Okay, now you can see me. Yeah, now you can see me also.
I can see.
Okay, okay, go for it.
Yes, so tell us some birth experience of something interesting that happened, or something that people don't usually see or hear or get to hear about. Anything interesting.
So every birth that I'm at has taught me lots of things. Every birth you're at, it teaches you new layers, new things, new perspectives, that because every mother is unique, no? So the same lesson, sometimes you see it in another angle, So it's very lovely. One of my most favorite memories is of this mother who came as a very traditional Orthodox Muslim mother, who would not even take, she's covered fully in the classes, and now she's fully covered, right? So I used to always wonder in the birth, how will I can see her eyes. She's such a eager student, all that. I can see her energy. We're connecting, we're laughing, all that is there. But I've never seen even her face. And I used to wonder how it will be. I wonder how it will be. Will we have to really cajole her to take her clothes off? Will we actually, so many things were in your mind, right? And then the birth happened and it was like being in a holy place. There was hardly a word uttered. It was in dim lighting. She did not need me at all. And I'm not saying it was good because she didn't need me. But the way every once in a while when things got intense, she would just turn and just look into my eyes.
Okay.
And that's it. So, when you say being a doula, what I learned is some women need the massages, some women need the full reassurance, some women need repeated reminders, words to bring them to their group. Some women just need somebody that they trust, just a physical presence also there. And a doula is all of these things. So many times at a birth, I've seen like this mother is like flailing around, and then one is there at one birth, she's like, this woman will just be like in a trance and she'll be pushing, and then she'll raise her eyes and just look right into your eyes, or look right into Donna's eyes, right? Almost like it's not like they're looking at you. They're looking like through you, like in a trance, but they want a point that holds that gaze. It's like somebody holding their hands, but a gaze is holding a gaze.
Okay.
A breath is holding a breath. This is why doula work, I will always say that we cannot really intellectualize doula work too much. There's a physicality to it that is so important. It's not about certificate after certificate. Yes, the training is important, the understanding is important, because there's so many types of women. But within that, a doula has to have a capacity to expand into the moment. Sometimes back off, sometimes step up, sometimes for one birth, I was feeling like she doesn't want me to talk. So then what I would do is I just go to her side and I would start breathing deep.
Okay.
So that she can overhear me breathing. And after 2 times, and this is very intuitive, after she overheard me breathing, she just turned and looked at me, and there was a smile, and then she also just started breathing. I'm not touching her or anything, because she was not a touchy kind of person, or she didn't need it at that time. So, there are certain things, there are certain layers that you cannot learn from a book. But if you are grounded in your body, and if you are taking that lesson or the gift that mother is giving you, like Arpita said, right? You learn. In the beginning, you don't know much. I mean, just the technicalities. But what is my state of being when I'm there? It's just not, when it's not just that I was for her. She was teaching me so much. Each of them have taught me so much. Right? And this one, the grace, the perfection, how this thing went. There was only Donna and me in the corner. We were just sitting on stools, and she's handling the whole thing. And as each moment, when she wants to take her clothes off, she'll take that off. And layers and layers, each of the layers, when she's ready, it was just the most beautiful. It was like being in a church. Then another memory that I really love is, and I really like saying the story because I like pumping a bit of badassery into women. So, this mom, like Fauzia, who follows you and all that. So Fauzia, conceived late. She had a, assisted conception, all that stuff. So the only thing she wanted was, I need immediate skin to skin. I want delayed cord clamping. So she had a C-section because I fell into a high risk birth and all that stuff. It was all nicely handled. And because the staff is not familiar with what is this, doctor will say yes, give the baby immediately, all that stuff. But the people after surgery is done, it's not the doctor who's standing there. That's the nursing staff, right? So if they are not in tune with this, they will forget. Okay, they'll just do the routine. They'll take the baby there, and just outside the OT, I'm just standing just outside the doors, and I'm like overhearing what's happening. At least can I make out? Did they do? I'm hoping magically if I can overhear conversation and know, did they do delayed cord clamping? Did they do skin to skin and all? And from far away, I can hear she's just finished her surgery, and I can hear her keeping on saying, I want my baby with me now. I want my baby with me now. I told the doctor before. I know this thing. Where is my baby? Where is my baby? I can hear her making a royal fuss inside. Okay. Finally, the doctor is saying, she has been hounding me for this since she was 4 months pregnant. Please give this woman her baby.
Excellent.
So, and this is again because of the birth education question that you asked, right? Every birth there is no schedule in how a birth goes. But if it goes a little bit this way, still what are the ones that we want to hold on to? And then if it goes a little bit this way, still
Right, right.
be aware. The awareness of these things is what helps us to execute these things.
Correct, correct.
Right? And when that mother knows that, then she is also able to stand there.
True.
So those are some of the memories. Lots. Each of the memories are very precious and very beautiful, and lots
Right.
and lots.
Right. And Riba, we will do a Malayalam live very soon now that I have some Malayali followers. Because the first time we did a live last year or a couple of years back, I didn't have any Malayali followers. Nowadays I have lots. So we'll definitely do one in Malayalam. Get off.
Okay.
I can't see
All
you,
right.
so I'm just talking to nobody.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. But I can't
I'm
see
still
you.
here.
Okay,
I'm
right.
still here.
So I want to know, Riba, you were the doula at Kalki's birth. Allah. Somehow I find... No, you were
No,
not
I
the doula?
wasn't. I wasn't. We just had a lot of conversations about we had birth, some classes, conversations or classes, and then I connected her with a doula who's in Mumbai because Mumbai has doulas, So
Right. Okay. I thought you were
but
her
I
doula.
think no, I think what really happened was also postpartum. There was a lot of, there's a lot of interaction where she would just reach out if she needed, and then there would be just. It's basically just words of reassurance. It's not for the mother, it's a big thing. I keep feeling like it's not that much of a big thing, but
no,
yeah.
For me, it was a big thing. For birth workers, it's a big thing when a celebrity has a natural birth or gets the help of a doula or a midwife and all. These things only get the word across, no? So it's kind of a very, very big deal.
Yes.
For you, for
but
me.
Kalki is she's a very smart, grounded, really authentic, very genuine kind of person. So she had done her research, she had done her reading. She wasn't like just going into it like somebody who didn't know much. She was clear about what she wanted, and she was very sensible. If it doesn't go like this, okay, this is what I want to do. If it goes like this, okay, this is what I want to do. It was not hard to actually support her. Yeah.
Okay. And how many people do you have in your childbirth education classes, Reba?
So my childbirth education classes are all birth village classes.
Okay.
I only do the birth village childbirth education class, and we've always had a policy of not more than 6 couples.
Okay.
We have made exceptions when somebody comes in very late and they're already 37 weeks or whatever, and we want them to have the class before they actually go into labor. Those exceptions, we've made a few exceptions.
Okay.
But other than that, I actually cannot deal with more than 6, 7. It's very hard because then the question, each of them, if they have questions, how can you reach this justice and answer their questions? You can't do that.
Right.
Otherwise, each class should be like 6, 7 hours long. It's impossible. They will also get bored. Yeah. So we have 7 modules. We have 7 modules. Each of the modules are about, will be anywhere between 1.5 to 3 hours.
Okay. So it's approximately
on the topics, like
18 to 20 hours of class.
14, 15 hours. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Reba. Thank you so much for joining. As I told you, next time Malayalam live, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have good news to announce to you, Swati.
Parava.
I think you should be the first one to hear. I am buying a new phone next week.
Oh, please. പുതിയ ഫോണോ പുതിയ ഹെഡ്ഫോണോ പുതിയ എന്തെങ്കിലും
ഹെഡ്ഫോൺ ഒക്കെ പുതിയത് വാങ്ങിച്ചു പക്ഷേ എന്റെ ഫോണ് I thought it was fixed, but എന്റെ ഫോൺ കടക്കാരി ചതിച്ചു. They tried their best. So it's
okay. റീബനെ കട്ട് ചെയ്യണേ, കട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
That's a love, and thank you for this. Every woman needs a doula, doesn't matter where she's birthing.
Correct.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. So that was Reba Daniel. please reach out to Reba Daniel on her Instagram account or on Birth Village's Instagram account. Let me add last one, Sangeeta Pathasarthi, who's by now quite a known face on my handle. Her Instagram handle name itself is World Doula. So easy to remember. World Doula. Sangeeta, are you there? I tried to add you, girl. Wait a second, I'll try again. Okay. I'm going to try again. Can you send me a request? Okay, I've turned off the comments so you won't be able to send, no? Wait, I'll try adding you again. Enmo red la enmo vanduchu. Oh, add acha. Ha ba. Hi.
Hi everyone, happy World Doula Week.
Yeah, I've disabled the comments because I have some assholes following me these days. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, how are you? I think
I'm
I'm
good.
quite familiar to. Oops. Okay.
Yes,
Can you see me
yes, very familiar.
now? Yes.
Yes, girl. So tell us all about how you became a doula and what all have you experienced? Any interesting experiences that you want to share with us?
Yeah. Okay. I think I've said some of this story before, but I will kind of maybe say it again. I come from a very achievement-oriented, math, science, whatever background. Okay. I also come from a background that intellectualizes everything. As the way to. So I've spent. It's fair to say that most of my life I've masked who I was to whatever. Yeah.
Wait a second. Qualification solla.
Oh, qualification. I had a very different birth-related qualification. General.
Past life.
Past life. Okay. I went to BITS Pilani. I then studied computer science in the University of Cincinnati. I have a degree in social impact from University of Pennsylvania. And then I went to Harvard for an entrepreneurship executive program.
Okay. Ipa solla.
So, I mean, as you can see, right, this whole idea around achievement and whatever that was and all that. And I hacked it, and I have a technical background, but all of what I did was people. So I've been in customer success roles. I've been in strategic pre-sales roles. I've done sitting at the intersection of maybe like the data versus the people skills. But all the roles that I've had have where I've been good at have been people-based, right? Like relationship-based. So I would never be able to, like, the role where you had to directly go and sell. I did that for a few years and I hated it because it was a wham bam thank you ma'am kind of thing. But account manager or account kulla, you go in and work with the client, you build that trusted advisors, sort of being the doula, right? And the client success role is actually like being the client's doula. You have their best interests at heart, and you build a relationship, right? So that was the part of work that I liked. But there was always this growing dissatisfaction about so many things which I couldn't articulate at that point, and I know now. Or தேடல் இருந்துட்டே இருந்தது. Okay, so it was I was searching for something and I didn't know what it was, and it kept me very anxious, and or I couldn't articulate it like that, and the only thing that I would constantly come up with was, if money was no object, the question, money was no object, now what would you do?
Yeah, what would you do?
Yeah, my husband and I have had this conversation a lot, and I didn't exactly. The only thing I would constantly say is that I would the only content that I would engage with or something that really would get me passionate is, women and patriarchy and systemic issues and collective issues, and that would rile me up. That would, whatever that was. Okay, but I didn't know what that would become or anything like that. Like, I had no idea about any of that, right? So, birth changed me. Like most people said, I had 2 planned home births in the UK, and then Laya was born in the hospital, transferred to the hospital, and she was born there. And then Swara was born at home. With midwives, we had a doula both times. And that, I mean, wow, just wow. And, we've spoken about mother wounds in the past. I feel that, sometimes the doula work is kind of filling the gaps in our developmental psyche that we maybe didn't have, that quality of holding the woman, truly just witnessing, there is such a quality. I kind of look, not that we're stepping in as surrogate mothers, I'm not saying that, but I think there is a very mother-like quality that the woman sometimes, I think I'll talk about some stories later, but yeah, so that so my children were born. We hired a doula both times. It was very transformative for us. Then I went back to my strategy consulting job, and it just didn't make sense. It's one of those things where it really felt to me like if I had done that, I could do any, and like, I don't know, dramatica, cinematica, but I think it was brewing for a long time. But then when I went back to work, it did not make sense at that point,
Right.
So then, I became a birth doula, childbirth educator, and then I used to support women. And then there would be something missing, where you would teach hypnobirthing, you would teach, your childbirth education classes, you would bring all your doula skills to the table, and like a classic overlearner, I've learned, whatever, like to stay confident. The imposter syndrome, but there would be something there in that would come in the way, and I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't have the language for that, right? Which was what the woman was carrying in her body, as told an experience. So that's what led me to then becoming a somatic experiencing practitioner, dealing with trauma. And I integrate so much of that work into all areas of my life, including my parenting, our couple, how I relate to my husband as a couple, and definitely how I relate to couples in the birth room. So it has been intensely transformational, very culturally humbling, and this is just me being very raw, honest, vulnerable. Like Arpita said, you kind of say things and then you kind of say, oh wait, I could have said this better. And also for somebody who grew up with a lot of self-critical, no room for mistakes, perfectionist tendencies, that is really hard, because then you go into the intellect and then that takes away from you being with the woman, right? And so for me, it's also kind of telling myself that I'm good, the good enough, that, right? I do a lot of like the, debrief later and figure it out, all that. But I mean, it is transformational. Every birth moves me. I cry at every birth. I tear up. Sometimes I bawl. Birth is intense, which is why I only do 1 birth a month. This is my personal choice. I don't do more than that, because I feel like for me to hold somebody, it's not like you can just do 40 births a month and make tons of money. It's not that kind of a role. Like, that's not how I do it anyway. So, because even with the most beautiful of births, it takes a lot out of you, because I have to be completely present and attuned to the woman, right? Yeah.
Right. So now tell us. எப்பவுமே சீரியஸாவே பேசுற சங்கீதா, ஏதாவது ஜாலியா சொல்லு.
ஒரு பியூட்டிஃபுல் ஸ்டோரி வந்து ஒரு கப்பல், லைக் I think it's நான் நிறைய கப்பல்ஸ் நிறைய ஃபார்மேட்ஸ்ல சப்போர்ட் பண்ணிருக்கேன். Home births, water births, hospital births, not home births in Tamil Nadu. When I was in the UK.
Note the point.
Please note the point. I'm not saying that that's an option. I say that don't DM me saying, can you have a home birth? I don't. Here in Tamil Nadu, I only will support you inside a hospital. I go to a hospital here in Chennai, where I will meet you in the hospital, not at your home. etc. Okay, so there's differences in which doulas practice, but this is like I have supported home births in the UK where it's, you know, not illegal.
Yeah.
ரொம்ப ஸ்வீட் ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்றேன். அது see இது வந்து ரொம்ப நேச்சுரலா
இங்கிலீஷ்லயே சொல்லு.
இங்கிலீஷ்லயே
சொல்லு.
Okay, so this is a very sweet kind of thing that happened. I was supporting a couple who they went in one afternoon and she was doing fine. So the agreement was she would let me know when she wanted me to come. And she had been laboring overnight. And then she called me at some point. I get there at about noonish the next day. And so she had been in labor all night. And as I walked in, there was, I think she was quite still, you know, sort of early, say 2-ish centimeters, you know. Then I think then this happens quite a bit is when the doulas walk into the room, depending on how you do it. There's something about the body that just feels, you're here. You know, oh, I can just let go. You know, so that happened, and then it picked up, etc. Right, and then she gets to about 3 or 4, and she's been there for quite a while, and it was the night, and she was getting tired, all of that. Then, of course, you know, there is the medical side going on, the checks, the meconium, the monitoring. You know, there's a medical side going on. But what was very beautiful was how the husband, her partner, and her were such a awesome team, you know, like they had their own hypnobirthing bubble, and it was so beautiful. And she would instinctively kind of lean on him, and she would sway, and he would sway with her. And you know, and this was paycheck, no words at all. And somehow, I mean, the other doulas also relate. There is you kind of know when she wants your touch and when she just cannot stand it. You just know that, right? So, you know, sometimes I would offer, you know, my touch. So I was sitting behind her and I would just kind of offer my touch. And sometimes I would just say, no, you know, let this kind of go on. And it was so instinctive and it was so beautiful and all of that. And this, you know, her mother was there, but she was a very non-intrusive support, which is so great actually. Because a lot of parents in the birth room will be like, you know, it is happening, how long would it take, blah, 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 right? But she was very non-intrusive, like quiet, sitting in a corner, and it was so beautiful for her, you know, to be supported like that. Then, of course, the nurses come in and start offering some things. But this is beautiful how the husband and I are making eye contact, and we've rehearsed some of this before, right? He had a very good sense of humor about it. Okay, so I wouldn't call it flirty, but you know, charming. That's the right word. You know how you can be like very charming.
Yeah,
so he was just being himself, very like playful, curious. Akka, idu pannadinga, idu pandringla. You know, he starts making her feel really comfortable, not putting her down or whatever, but making, you know, that very beautiful conversations, and that completely brought it down. And it was so beautiful. Like he would go out and he was building that bridge in a very intuitive manner, and he would make eye contact, and my communication with him was just, you know, like, you know, eye based and all of that. It's so beautiful. And so she went from like 3 to 4 to about 9, like almost like to pushing in about 20 minutes. Because what had happened, I mean, again, you can intellectualize it, right? The point that she was trying to make was that it was too much for her and it was getting really intense. So one of the things we did was then, you know, we had a sidebar, go to the nurse. She offered an injection. Okay, which kind of in hindsight, so it was so beautiful. And the minute she gave the injection, for her, it was like, oh, I'm supported now. I'm heard, I'm felt, I'm seen, I'm witnessed. So this is the point I was making about. I'm saying something. I need you to mirror it back, take it seriously, and acknowledge that this exists. Versus saying, hey, you know how much we practice. Just breathe through it. You know, that's the line, right? So then we go and she administers an injection, and that kind of, you know, brings it down. And then 20 minutes later, she's fully dilated. So yeah, that's a beautiful. But yeah, I mean, it was very beautiful how the dad was in charge. You know, like there was this oxytocin producing, very sweet, holding, nurturing that he was doing. And then he was also protecting her space, right? Like, doing the interface with the nurses and all of that. It's very beautiful to watch.
Nice,
so
nice that you mentioned
support-
about the father. I wanted somebody to talk about the partner.
Yeah, I mean, you're supporting the mother, but you're also supporting them as a couple, right? You're holding their oxytocin bubble intact. I think that's the biggest. And, both of them kind of trust you there because you're seeing them at a very vulnerable, very deeply affectionate space, which is the birth space. You see so much of beauty and, intimacy in the couple unfold at birth, and you're I'm very fortunate to witness that because I think that happens only when both of them kind of feel safe with you.
Yeah, true. So thank you so much for that, Sangeeta. Tell me, how can people reach out to you? What all you're into, and also tell me how many people you take in a batch, because that's very important information.
Yes.
That's like super important, girl.
Okay, so you can find me on World Doula. I also have a website, worlddoula.com, where you can go for all my work. I do birth education. I support people in Chennai in person. I've done a lot of virtual doula work. I seem to have picked up a speciality of women calling me just before labor starts or in early labor. And there's a lot of stories. Like, I think there's 3 or 4 stories of women who are just about to go in. Should I be induced? Will labor start naturally? Doctors told me that the baby is high. It's not engaging. That sort of thing. In 20 minutes, we're on the phone. I'm kind of holding space. And then, 10 minutes later, labor starts. The stories are out. So I've been doing a lot of that. Over the phone. So when you think that you need the face-to-face for this to work, which is amazing, right? Because when there is resonance, this stuff really can kind of work. So I, shift. So I do virtual doula stuff, but in-person doula support, I do it in Chennai. And what else? I do trauma therapy, which most of you know I do one-on-one. Yeah. So your question around how many people do I have in a class? The maximum I have had in one batch is four couples, not more than that. And that's because, like all the other doulas said, I really like the face-to-face. It's a very fluid. You see, okay, so if you go to my profile, there is very little of me just talking at the camera. I'm more good with conversations like this. That seems to bring out, and it's a very relational space of being seen, held, and mirrored. But I'll say this, okay, so here is what I'm grappling with. Like most of the other people said, if you want just knowledge, all of this knowledge is available as free resources in books, in websites like blogs, in videos, etc. Right? But the thing is, knowledge does not equal to action. That's one thing that people need to really understand is the movement and the transformational piece only happens when you can put it into action and somebody can help you get through the noise, right? Which is a lot more than that. That being said, I'm also extremely aware of how privileged it is to pay money and go. Is it valuable? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that, right? And I think, my classes are 12-ish hours. But then, with my doula clients, I do one-on-one prenatal work, and there are some couples who I see on a daily basis. So I deal with, quite big, sexual abuse survivors, etc. So many, surrogates, gestation surrogates, mothers of rainbow babies, after stillbirth, IVF. So I provide a lot of nervous system support weekly when they go through that. So of course that is, one-on-one. But I also think there is a space for us making it more inclusive and accessible content-wise. So yes, there is a lot of content out there, but there is also a space for not everybody can afford it, right? So I think that's something that I feel really passionate about. That's why my Birth Like a Badass is structured in that manner. It is not the full birth education class, right? But I think there is a way in which we can still kind of add value. So that is there. But I think like I said, I mean, knowledge does not equal action, right? So I think it's something you need to know what you're paying for. If you're just going for you're just regurgitating things, that's so. All my classes are very tailored to that. I love doing one-on-one because at the starting point for each couple is very, very different. I've dealt with severe tocophobia. Tocophobia means fear of childbirth. Like severe, cannot be anywhere around anything related to children or infants or childbirth, So I mean, how would they come to a group class and sit through that? I don't know, right? So, I mean, for example, that's what I'm
Correct.
saying.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
it needs to be completely tailored, to that. And they had a beautiful birth at Sanctum, by the way.
Oh,
Let me share
really?
story soon. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Wow. Fear of childbirth. Wow.
yeah,
What's
tocophobia,
that?
severe. Yeah, so
Tocophobia.
it's
Okay.
like in the fear of needles. It's like that, but it's
Uh-huh.
fear of childbirth, fear of
Right.
period, anything. Like sometimes it's fear to do with anything with reproductive, systems. But there is tocophobia is real. It's crippling, and then you have, and when if you're in patriarchy, thinking of you as childbearing vessel, you're conflicted between these two things. On one side there is crippling fear, and then on the other side there is this, I need to have a baby, and then you're caught between. So a lot of, I do some of that as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Awesome, girl. Thank you so
yeah.
much. Happy Doula Week. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell, like our concluding message, Madhuriyada, to people who are looking
Yeah.
out for doula services or childbirth
Yes.
education classes or
Yes.
anything to do with antenatal, pregnancy, postpartum, anything?
Everybody has shared their tips, but I will say, I keep saying this over and over again. For you to reach out to any kind of care provider, the basic thing is, do you feel biologically safe with them? Is there that trust? I think for me that is really, really important. So I think choose wisely, know what you're choosing and why. I think for me that's key, right? If you're going there because everybody is going there, that's one thing. But kind of really figure out what you're getting for it. Like I said, if it's just knowledge, you can get all of that and more for free. But I think there is also a lot of experience that comes with, like wisening of ourselves. A lot of doulas, all three of them shared that, right? And how we have grown. So with every batch, the way I teach changes massively. My stories or anecdotes change, the words, the pauses, everything, my sentences, my listening, everything changes and evolves the more births I'm at, right? So I think choose carefully, and this is one of the most important decisions that you can make as parents. Parenting does not start at birth. Parenting starts much earlier than that, and every woman needs a doula.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Needa cut panna theriyadhu.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you everyone for watching, and please tell your friends to come and watch. I'll be saving this right away. Meanwhile, those who watched it non-stop, please comment below the saved video what you felt while watching it, so that people who come watch later know what you went through while watching it, okay? Sorry I couldn't take any questions. It was just to introduce 4 doulas to you all, and I'll be having more conversations with all of them separately about the births that they attended or the experiences that they had. And I'm sure all these 4 people are amazing people, and there are more doulas, okay? It's not just the 4 of them. So there are more people out there. I want you people to go check out birthindia.org, which is an NGO, but then this website will have information on all birth workers. So it'll have information on lactation consultants, hypnobirthing practitioners, doulas, midwives, and whoever, childbirth educators, whoever has registered with Birth India, they will have them in their directory. And there's a Facebook group called Informed Birthing India with a lot of contacts on birth centers, on hospitals that allow less intervention births and water births and all of that. And you get to share your experiences and get to learn from others' experiences as well. So these are the 2 resources I'd like to let you know. That's all. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, all of you. Ta-ta.